Vikram Sood, former Chief of R&AW and currently advisor at ORF, joining us on the show. Mr. Sood, thank you so much for speaking with us here at NDTV Profit. And the idea was to give our viewers, who are equity investors and investors largely, a sense from a strategy point of view of where this could go. Can I start by asking you, do you think US and Israel did not expect Iran to fight back so hard and for so long? The sense going into this was that it would be over much quicker?
Well, in a word, yes. It was unexpected, the kind of resistance. But apparently, you come to a stage when your narrative building about your own strengths and others' weaknesses, you tend to ignore what the other chap might be trying to do. And the Iranians have been preparing for much longer for this kind of a situation where they would be under attack from the United States and perhaps Israel, and that's how it has turned out. And they're playing the game in a manner of speaking on the cheap, in the sense that they are using cheaper equipment like drones to pull down some of their more expensive ammunition and missiles. So it's a game that is going on longer. The resilience that they were Iranians have shown and the innovativeness is, I'm not surprised. I thought this would happen like this. So it'll go on for a while, and I don't know where and how it will end. I can't promise any certain
Why
solution.
do you say it will go on for a while? Basis what? Because what happens is, in the fog of war, you're hearing the US president saying we've taken out their navy, they have no leaders left, we've taken out their air force, their oil is over, when they're speaking about Tehran. Why do you feel, Mr. Sood, this will go on for a while, and how long can Iran really hold out?
Well, I don't know how long Iran can hold on, but the thing is that if the Americans looking for regime change, then it can't be done from the air. It has to be done with boots on the ground and a local population that supports that. Unless they do that, the Americans, you can't organize a regime change sitting in the United States or even around the bases, which I think the Americans are reluctant to do. The Iranians are ready to die, as most countries are when they fight for freedom and independence of their own country. Look how Vietnam is fought for the wars. In that sense, even the Ukrainians have given the Russians a tough time, although one knows that they were amply aided by the United States. But still, fighting away from your territory with your men there is always a difficult situation. And you can't always explain it to your own population. I don't think the Americans have succeeded in convincing their own people that they will have to put boots on the ground.
Mr.
So in
Sood,
that sense, they will continue, and they may try at some later stage to find a solution to this and settle down. But it's not a 3-day war. It's not a 6-day war.
It's not a 6-day war. Mr. Sood,
No.
If you can comment on the visuals and the updates that we have received about infrastructure getting hit and public infrastructure getting hit. We're talking about desalination plants, we're talking about oil depots. There has also been a report about a school getting hit. Now, these are civilian targets, effectively. And so, therefore, the war has already crossed certain boundaries that some others have not crossed in the past. And so, what you're saying about feet on the ground, if that does not come to pass, do you see more of the same, and what are the implications of that?
No, the thing is that once you kill the other country's president, then you've crossed a lot of red lines, haven't you? So it would be surprising if the regime in Iran, or even the population accepts that kind of a situation. As far as the infrastructure is concerned, it hurts both ways. If they, I mean, if the Americans pull down the Iranian infrastructure, they pull down in infrastructure in the neighboring countries, as you saw with the bases. All the American bases in the neighboring countries were hurt, and they've been pulling down each other's desalination plants for water. So this is the kind of not give and take, an eye for an eye situation that the Iranians are capable of doing, it seems, that even now.
Sir, just the point that you're making on feet on the ground, this sense, obviously this is, must confess, this is armchair observers, and so therefore you would be best placed to correct any such views, is that the way of warfare has changed, and the utilization of technology to replace humans has changed. So why do you say that you need feet on the ground for this regime change to be effected?
Look, missiles can destroy a lot of things. Missiles can demoralize the people. And artificial intelligence perhaps can do a lot more other things than we had heard in the wars before. But there is that, who is going to control it? Are you going to control it sitting in Washington or Tel Aviv, or are you going to control it from getting there to do it? And therefore, you need to get people working along to rehabilitate as you do destroy itself. You can't just destroy and go away. That won't work. You have to put somebody there, and there will be resistance from the locals if you bring in troops, army troops.
Mr. Sood, good morning, Neeraj here. There are multiple theories about the end game of this, whether it's a regime change, whether it's breaking the axis that the West doesn't or the US doesn't want, and therefore multiple reasons for when this conflict will end. Do you have a guess here? And based on that guess, do you have a guess on how long can this conflict last?
There are others who say that this is not even about Iran, it's about China.
Exactly, sir.
So we don't know which is their final motive, because Ukraine was not about Ukraine. Ukraine was about Russia, and when they play games with Pakistan, it's not about Pakistan. It's about India. When they play games with India, it's not about India. It's about China. So there is this kind of linkages that people have seen in the past. So I am not sure, or is it even a diversion from domestic politics? It all rolled into one.
Fair call. So difficult
there's speculation that this may be something to do with Epstein also.
Sure. Wow. Okay. Multiple theories. Okay. Fair call.
Yeah.
One other question would be this whole theory of Iran using cheap munition at the start and making US and Israel use expensive equipment and deplete those, and then eventually unleashing their own sophisticated equipment. Do you sense that to be the strategy, and could something like that be effective in dragging the war or getting an upper hand, if you will, in the current context?
No, nobody is better equipped than the Americans are, and they can take a lot of losses, even if this strategy, these tactics are accurate. I should think that they are fairly accurate. But recently there was a report that Washington had called for a meeting with Lockheed Martin and General Dynamics and others, how to enhance production quickly. Obviously, after Ukraine and other places, they're running short of some equipment and they want to replace it as soon as possible. On the other hand, you also have reports saying that the Germany's U.S. Army's biggest military hospital in Germany, at a place called, let me see, Landstuhl in Germany, uh, has taken a decision that they would not accept women who are pregnant and about to deliver because they need those beds. Now, what does that mean? Are they expecting casualties of that scale? Or are they just being overly cautious?
Mr. Sood, just to understand the involvement of the GCC countries, the Gulf countries in the middle of this, they are actually the staging ground of this war. Do you think that they getting hurt to this extent, and then consequently what's happening with crude, etc., will force a quicker closure to the war?
Sorry, could you repeat that last bit again?
Will the fact that right now UAE, Kuwait, Qatar getting hurt to this extent, having to, halt or reduce production of oil, not being able to export it, crude prices at 116, will force a quicker closure to the war? Will all of these factors pressurize both sides to cease and desist to some extent?
I think because oil is in the general global interest, they will have to take a call on this quickly, because if you don't allow others to import their own oil that they for their own use, there is going to be resentment. And if you remember, might have noticed that a day or two ago, maybe 3 days ago, there was a statement from Washington that they have allowed India to import oil from Russia for a month. Obviously, there is shortage now, and they want that oil to come into the open, and we should refine it and then sell part of it to the Europeans or Americans, who wants to use it. So oil is a major feature in this, and you can't just let it go. That's the only thing that keeps West Asia going. If they have no money, have no exports, no money, then where do they go?